This week, OpenAI dropped something massive, their AI agent kit. And after personally building hundreds of agents using n8n, Zapier, Make.com, this one really got my attention. And if you're someone that wants to build with AI, build automations, this is something I think you should really focus on and get up to speed with as quick as you possibly can. So that being said, in this video, I will break down simply what is AI Agent Kit, what does it do, what are the implications for the whole no-code industry of building AI agents, and I'll put together a little live example of how I'm using it to best showcase how you can go about using it too. Before we get into the video, I just want to take 20 seconds out and ask for a favor. Over 96% of the people that watch this channel have not subscribed, and it does amazing things when people do subscribe. So my ask, my one and only ask, is if you've gotten benefit out of this channel, benefit out of this video, please do consider liking and subscribing on the video. Alrighty, so before we get stuck into AI Agent Kit from OpenAI, I want to touch on some of the legacy automation softwares and platforms that allow you to already build AI agents. So specifically Make.com, Zapier, and n8n are the three biggest ones. I'll actually drop links to those in addition to AI Agent Kit below, so you can go check them out if you've never used them. Now, they're great tools, do not get me wrong, and they're still tools I use to this day. The one difference, or the biggest difference in my opinion, between those and Agent Kit from OpenAI is Agent Kit is all-encompassing. When we think of something like n8n, you have to think through some of the more technical, kind of cumbersome processes. So what I mean by that is you have to go and set up API keys, be it to OpenAI or Gemini or Claude, to connect to your LLM, your AI, the brain of your agent. You have to connect via an API key because it's an external piece, right? You have to connect webhooks to listen for events to external applications. So all of these things you'll need to set up. Now, you don't have to be a tech wizard in order to do these things, but it does take a little bit of practice. What I find beautiful and really awesome about Agent Kit is it's all encompassing. So it's built inside OpenAI itself. It's built inside of ChatGPT, for a lack of better words, right? So everything from building to deploying to optimizing your agent happens in one place, right on the screen. There's no middleware. There's no authentication that you have to do. There's no API keys you have to pull. You have to jump between different dashboards and different tools. You can work in this dashboard, in this tool alone, and that is awesome. All right, so how do you access Agent Builder and how do we go about building an agent? You can access it by coming to the URL platform.openai.com/agent-builder. Now, quick little caveat, OpenAI, they own ChatGPT and they own Agent Builder, which is this new capability. So your login details for Agent Builder will be the same as for ChatGPT. It's just something to note there. But once you log in, you'll be greeted with this page. So you get this little board. And the first thing you'll notice is you have a bunch of nodes on the left-hand side. So you get core nodes, tool nodes, logic nodes, and data nodes. And these nodes can be dragged and dropped at will. So you can go ahead and drag and drop and connect and disconnect different nodes from one another. And obviously by connecting those, they will do things and they won't do things. What you'll start with is a start node, which is an initialization for your agent, and then a my agent node. Now, this is a super powerful node. If we click on it, you get this little modal, which gives you more information and allows you to put into more information. You can name your agent, right? Whatever you want. And then instructions. You can detail out instructions for your agent. Currently, it says you are a helpful assistant, but in natural language, in pure English, you can explain exactly what you want your agent to be able to do. And then you can go ahead and include chat history. So it'll include the context of a chat history with the user. You can set the model. So you can select from all the different models we've come to know from ChatGPT. It's currently set to GPT-5, so that's okay. The reasoning effort, you can set from minimal all the way through to high. I just leave it on low for now. And then you can connect some additional tools. Now, these tools that you can connect are these tools over here: file search, guardrails, MCP, and I'll cover those in a second. And then your output format. Your output format will be either text, if it's going to be just an output to a user, or JSON, if you're passing your output to another agent in JSON format. It's a structured way of putting together messaging from agent to agent or from node to node. So those are the kind of components of this modal that you can kind of maintain your agent and build your agent. What I've been able to do is I was thinking through this when Agent Kit launched, and I was like, okay, what could I practically show my community, you guys, that could also work really well for me, and where could I use Agent Builder? And quickly I noticed and thought about, I have a vibe coding course on Udemy. Now Udemy is a kind of course program very similar to Coursera, but yeah, pretty if you don't know it, there will be a link in the description below, you can check it out. But with this vibe coding course, there's a ton of content. Like there are like 60 lectures, and there's hundreds at this point now, thousands of users that are taking the course, and there's hundreds of users asking really great questions every single week. But replying to those is quite a cumbersome process, quite a manual process. So I wanted to build out something that could help these students get an answer really quickly if I wasn't there at that point in time to answer it. So sometimes it takes me anything from a couple of minutes to a couple of hours. So the idea was an AI teaching assistant, right, that's trained on my own material, maybe my vibe coding course, as well as some additional YouTube videos. So I started a new project in Agent Builder, pretty much, I'll call it my vibe coding assistant. And I dropped in these two nodes, or they came with these two nodes. But the My Agent node, this is where I want to show you how I've changed it. So it's actually still called My Agent, but let's go ahead and call it my vibe coding assistant, right? So it renames it. Now this is the kind of nuts and bolts of it. I've updated the instructions. So basically I've said you're an intelligent agent or intelligence assistant that answers users' questions strictly using transcripts from Jagged Garda's YouTube videos and his Udemy vibe coding course. Your objectives, so I'm being very specific here, use a little bit of prompt engineering for this. Help users learn about topics, including AI automations, AI concepts, so forth, so forth. When a user submits a question, search the provided transcript file store, and I'll show you this shortly, to locate relevant data and accurate information. 2, construct the answer solely based on that content. Don't hallucinate. Do not use anything else. I said do not invert, infer, or assume content not explicitly present in the transcripts. Then ensure your response is clear, concise, factually correct, and in my style and tone. So actually use the content I'm going to provide, I'll show you guys shortly, to pick up my style and tone. So it's as if I was replying. Then steps. Upon receiving a user question, identify key terms and concepts, search the transcript file store, synthesize the answer, and then present the answer in a clear, helpful manner. And the output format here, I've got responses should be clear, concise, paragraph, or maybe a series of bullet points, dependent. Do not include content not directly supported by the transcripts. I've just reiterated that. If the answer can't be found, then state it. Don't come up with anything. Say, I could not find that information. So if you say, how do I make a pizza? That's not in the content. And I've added in an example. So this is kind of just showcasing what you can go, how you can go from you are a helpful assistant to how you can detail out these instructions. And to be honest, use ChatGPT for this. Go on ChatGPT, put on voice mode, explain what you want your agent to do, and then just ask ChatGPT, be a world-renowned prompt engineer, write me a really good prompt for Agent Kit, for Agent Builder, so I can just pop it in, and it will do that for you. So, like, honestly, this makes me look really smart. I've changed a couple of things for sure, but I started with that. So just do that, right? It doesn't have to be rocket science. Then you can go ahead and save that. Then you will see under tools, it looks a little bit different from what we normally have, right? So with tools, we can go and click on that and we can add in a tool. What I did was I went and added in a file search or a knowledge base. And if we click on that file base or that knowledge base, what I've done is I've gone onto Udemy and I've downloaded all the transcripts for all like 60 lectures. And I've gone to my 5 kind of most relevant YouTube videos that I could find to the content that's also part of vibe coding. Really, for the no-code guys out there, people who are new to vibe coding, people who want to build software using AI, they've never coded before in their life. That's what the vibe coding course is about. That's who it's solely geared towards. It's an intro to this, and we cover Lovable and Rock and all these different softwares and ChatGPT and how to utilize that. And I give away some cool free stuff during the course and whatever. But in that, there's a whole bunch of information, and then there's some YouTube videos that kind of support that. So I downloaded those 5, the transcripts for those 5 videos. So all up, I don't think it tells us exactly, but you can easily see there's a ton of transcripts in here, right? So I can even load more. Wow. Yep. and load more and load more and load more. Okay, so that's all up. That's all of the files. So I think there's about 60 to 70 files there. And all I did was take text files that I got, I exported, and I popped them into this knowledge base. Very simple to be able to do that. You just go into add a tool, go to file search, and you go and upload the files. Sorted. And it will basically vectorize those files for us. So it's done that. And then I've said output format is text. So we can go ahead and preview this. So we can go ahead and say, for example, we can say, who is Jagger Belagada? All right. If you ask this on Google, you're going to probably get Mick Jagger and a few other people. That's not me because I'm not as famous for sure. But if you ask our agent, you'll see it has some sort of explainability. So it's searching files. It's searching a number of different ways of asking the question, right? Which is awesome. And then it says, Jagger Belagada is an AI product manager by day and AI content creator by night. He holds a master's in applied science, been academically published in the AI space. He teaches vibe coding, where he describes, which he describes as building applications using AI by expressing what you want in natural language. He's using tools like Cursor, Lovable, and others. Through his videos and course, he shows how to build and monetize AI-powered apps and with tools like Data Button, Lovable, Aqua Voice, and so forth. And there's some citation links to the files where that was pulled from. So, for example, that file is a YouTube video. That file is from, I think, one of the introductory lectures to the course. This is on the What is Vibe Coding lecture of the course. And there's some, basically lists out all those sources. So if we go there and say, for example, let's ask a question that is not related. So how do I bake a pie? Right? So if I ask, how do I bake a pie? It shouldn't pick up how to bake a pie because I'm pretty sure I didn't cover that in the vibe coding course, as far as I'm aware. So it will remove as much as it can through us building this, taking in the instructions, taking in all the files, and then not being able to hallucinate. It's just a phrase for not coming up with stuff that doesn't exist. So I could not find information on that topic in Jagger Belagada's transcripts. That's exactly what we wanted to ask us. So it's working exactly how we want it. And that's how in 2 nodes, literally this took me longer to download the transcripts than build the agent. I have an agent now that I can go ahead and publish and share, which I will be doing with all of the students on my vibe coding platform on Udemy, where they can access and they can just interact and they can ask a ton of questions. They can have the agent open while they're going through the course and literally ask questions, maybe exactly even about that specific lecture, which really puts a whole new way of allowing them to learn, which I'm super happy with. And it was so simple to build. Okay, and 2 other tools I want to cover though, because I think they're really important, is Guardrails. This is the one over here. So Guardrails, you can see on the modal, is got a number of kind of filters for sensitive or harmful information or content, and allows you to kind of filter out that content before it reaches your user, right? Or reaches your model, sorry. So your user enters in information and you can actually remove that. You can remove their name, their phone number, location, IP address, credit card number, banking information, passport information, and then per country, right? So we've got USA specific information, UK, Spain, Italy, Poland, Singapore, Australia, the list goes on. So that's just PII. You can do it for moderation, right? So you can remove things around hate or harassment and so forth. So it allows you, so if, for example, one of my students with my application goes ahead and enters in personal data or maybe tries something a little bit risky, it gets blocked automatically, right? It gets filtered out. And this is a built-in layer of safety that you can configure in your agent. So for example, if you're building this for a company, right? Because we want to, on this channel, teach people how to monetize using AI. So if you're building out an agent for a company, you can utilize this and show them and say, hey guys, listen, there's guardrails in place. So if anyone enters in any harmful information or any personal sensitive information, we can make sure that that doesn't actually reach the model. So that doesn't actually get consumed up by a ChatGPT model, which I think is really awesome to have in place. So that's the one. And it does it for jailbreak. So we've got kind of, this is more for like prompt injections. You kind of set that up and thresholds for that, as well as hallucinations, have a guardrail against that. The second one I want to showcase or cover is MCP. So MCP is Model Context Protocol. If we click on this over here, Model Context Protocol is just really just 3 words that basically describe it's an API for APIs. It allows you essentially to connect to external applications. So if we click add, there are already some connectors set in place. So you can connect to your Gmail, your Google Calendar, your Google Drive, your Dropbox, Microsoft Teams, Outlook email, so forth, as well as a whole bunch of third parties. So we can connect to Box, Zapier, Stripe, PayPal, and so forth. If there's an API key or link, you can connect to that server, you can connect to that application through MCP. So it essentially allows you, for example, we're connected to Gmail, it allows you to ask your agent to actually send emails on your behalf, or read emails, or draft emails, or for example, with Dropbox, allows you to kind of pull in files or drop files into your Dropbox. It gives you a window into that application. So you connect, you click on it, you sign into that application, and you are connecting your agent that you're building, that you can set up your instructions for, to your application using MCP, an API for applications, or API for APIs, pretty much. So I'd be remiss if I wasn't covering out the templates that OpenAI provide you. And I like these because they really help you understand and learn about Agent Builder as quick as possible, because they cover a fair number of nodes. So we're going to cover one of my favorite ones that I've seen so far, which is document comparison, which analyzes and highlights differences across uploaded documents. If we open it up, you'll be met with this workflow, right? Now, the first thing you'll notice is these big sticky notes, these yellow sticky notes. Now, these are actually notes as part of the core functionality, or the core, it's a core node. They do nothing in terms of capability. It's literally a sticky note where you can document your process as you build your workflow. If we come down over here, we will see a first agent called triage request. If we open this one up, now you'll start to see some of the more nodes that come out of this. So it states, classify the user's request based on 2 documents that have been provided recently in the conversation and whether the user is asking a particular question. So now it's going to classify. So it says if 2 documents have been provided, but there's no question from the user, we're going to respond with compare. It's in inverted commas. It's a classification. So we've noted that classification of 2 documents, no question, as compare. Another classification is 2 documents that are provided and there is a question. We've noted that as answer underscore question. And then finally, if only one document has been provided or no documents have been provided, respond with request underscore upload. So we have 3 classifications. These are important because this will triage the request and then it will go into an if/else node. This gives us basically if this classification, or if this classification, else what's going to happen. So what that means is, if we click on this, the first one is if the input is classified as compare, right? If we come back over here, the compare is stating that there is 2 documents, but no question. If it is compare, we go to this agent, right? This agent called propose reconciliation. This agent states, given the differences between the 2 documents, because remember we have the 2 documents, we don't have questions, we're just going to do an analysis of those 2 documents, assemble a single option for how to reconcile the difference. If no order has been described, consider the first document the user's version, and then the second document for all the potential changes, and do that comparison. So basically we're saying to this agent, do a reconciliation, identify the changes, because there's no specific question apart from the 2 documents that have been uploaded. Now, if we come to the next one, so that's if that classification equals compare, else if this classification equals answer underscore question, which was one of our other triage requests, which if we scroll down was stating, if we open this up, if 2 documents are provided and there is a question, so the user's uploaded the documents and then asked a question, that comes down to we want to provide an explanation. So very simply, use the information in the uploaded documents to answer the user's question. And finally, so if this, else, if this, else, if we don't cover those 2 options, not compare, not answer underscore question, then we go ahead and retry the agent. So we create an agent that is noted as or with the instructions, the user has not uploaded the required 2 documents for comparison, should suggest they upload a total of 2 documents using the paperclip icon. So we've really set out the structure. We've used logic so that we're not missing any use case, and we'll be able to triage the request, classify it as an option, and then execute an agent based on that outcome. And then finally, we have a binary option. Now, this is another node under logic called user approval, which is pausing for a human to approve or reject a step. This binary approval is set to approve or reject. Either it's going to go through an approval agent, so explain your approval reasoning, help the user draft a proper response by filling out this data schema, and we provide a data schema for the user. This data schema is an email schema, so it's email from who it's been sent to, what the subject is, and what the body is. So we're going to take if that is approved. So this is an analysis of the two documents, finding the changes, and then communicating those changes via a JSON schema in an email. Now, this is going to be interesting shortly. Or rejection, explain your rejection reasoning. So the rejection agent output format is text. So it's just going to say, hey, you rejected it. Cool. We're done, and we'll close that. For approval, it's not text, it's a test widget. So if we click on this, we've got this little test widget. Now, what is a widget, you might ask? So under My Agent, you can come to output format and you can go, remember we spoke about text and JSON? You can also click on widget, which uses OpenAI's new chat kit. If you click add widget, you can go ahead and create a widget. If you click on that, it will take us to this page, which is OpenAI's widget builder. Now, if we go to gallery, there's a bunch of templated widgets that you can use to embed into a website, and it's connected to your agent. So if we come back to our workflow, the approval agent is going to basically take that approval reasoning and place it into an email, so to explain the approval. And then that is going to be transferred into our test widget. If we open that up, we've used the templated email widgets. So if we come back to widget builder, it's this one over here. So here we've got literally a widget where we can click and we can then send an email. You can most likely send it via MCP. But what's really awesome, so you got a bunch of different widgets that you can use to facilitate the output of an agent. So you can make it look really nice, a good user experience. But what I really like, if you've got a new widget, you can just go ahead and use natural language, English, just to explain exactly what you want to build. You can explain what you want to see, so that then you can use that widget. You can tell your agent, hey, export into this format, and then it exports it via that widget, which this is the first time we've really gotten to a point of having such a simple approach to building agents together with beautiful looking user interfaces. Up until this point, you'd build a user interface and say lovable, you would vibe code that, then you'd use a webhook to connect to n8n, where you built a workflow which has an external API to OpenAI as your LLM. So there's all these different little components that you had to try and connect, and if one thing failed or the webhook wasn't a production webhook, it was a test webhook, then it would fail on Lovable and that wouldn't pass through. And I've done tons of videos on this. So I've tried to debug this through tons of videos before. Now it's all in one application. So you can go ahead and create a widget or use a template and then take the output of your agent and showcase it to users beautifully through an awesome widget, which I think is pretty awesome, right? So definitely go check out Widget Builder. I'm happy to do a more thorough, deeper video on that. If you guys are keen, just let me know in the comments below. But essentially, that is what this is doing as part of the approval. And I really like this use case because this template really showcases what you can really do and how powerful Agent Builder really is. Last thing I want to cover is if you go to guides and go to Agent Builder, there's a lot of really useful information here. But I want you to look at two of the main pieces here. One is deploy. So if we go to deploy, we can look at how do we deploy, right? So once your agent's ready, you can publish it straight from the dashboard. Remember the publish button we had on the workflow? You just go click publish, boom, done. So you have two ways to publish. You can use ChatKit, which allows you to basically embed your agent as a chat widget in any website, right? So if you have a website, you can embed your agent directly in and it can be utilized. Or you can go ahead and use the Agents SDK, which allows you that if you want something a little bit more customizable with your own code base, you can utilize that. So that's it. No servers, no API juggling, just really clean deployment. And then one of the other things I wanted to cover here was on optimization. So if we go down to optimize, you can see over here, we've got a number of optimization components, right? So these optimization tools, which include evaluation, kind of trace grading, dataset tracking, basically are a way to see how your agent performs and where it can improve. So that's not something you're going to get from Make or Zapier out of the box, right? You really have to configure it. With this, you get it out of the box. So basically it allows you to, it will continuously track how well your agent's doing and then optimize it to actually do better, which I think is one of the most mind-blowing features no one's talking about. So yeah, that is the video. OpenAI's agent builder, in my opinion, isn't trying to replace Zapier or Make. I think it's solving a different problem. I think those tools are really great and are still great for very complex workflows, complex automations. But if you want to just build actual AI agents, ones that can chat, taking a problem, take action on that problem, evolve over time, be optimized, get better, in the most straightforward and integrated way to do it. We're all using ChatGPT. There's like 800 million weekly users now. All those 800 million can now build their own agents directly on the platform in the most simple way possible, which I think really creates its own use case apart from n8n, Zapier, Make.com. And I think you can definitely have a use case for both. So it finally feels, in my opinion, like we're building an AI agent that doesn't require 10 different tools and applications open and platforms and a day of debugging. You can build, deploy, and optimize all within one day, or in my case, within 30 minutes within this video. And that's a massive step forward. So yeah, guys, that's the video. One last thing I ask for is if you found this useful, please do consider hitting the like and subscribe. It does amazing things for the channel. Over 96% of the people that watch this channel have not subscribed. So it will be doing me a solid if you can go ahead and do that. And as always, let me know in the comments what you thought of the video. Let me know about any other topics you would like me to cover, and I will see you next time. Cheers.